49er quarterbacks are where we start. And actually, largely, wouldn't you say, if you are one of the people that wants to micromanage practices, I guess the news was largely good for almost all of them for most of the weekend.
Yeah.
Right?
For the most part. I mean, you had reports of Trey Lance and accuracy issues, but you can't talk about that because it's just practice. But in general, so far so good, healthy, and the quarterbacks and the offense actually kind of had their way with the defense a little bit. They were Coach Wilkes was blitzing a little bit more than they had otherwise been showing so far in camp, and the Niner offense was able to beat him and make some big plays, which is exciting for Kyle Shanahan. But then the poor guy is just beset by all these quarterback snap count questions, and you can tell it's not even August, and he's already irked, to say the least.
Well, that's kind of what I'm wondering about. That's what I want to get at, and I'm fully aware. You and I, we live in a little bit of an opinion echo chamber, and so I understand that. I don't think Twitter represents society, and I don't think that social media represents the entire 49er fan base by any stretch. But I also understand just conversations that happen around town, what 49er fans are talking about right now. And I wonder if everybody has stopped and maybe thought about getting back in touch with just being a damn fan of the team instead of having to find this sort of entry point into what you think about quarterbacks, and maybe we can pin Kyle Shanahan down, and what the hell is he doing, and what is Brock's resume, and what's Trey's resume. Is there a toxic environment being built around the 49er quarterback situation before the thing even plays out?
I don't know if it's toxic yet, but there certainly is a camp where you're either in favor of this guy or you're in favor of the other guy. And if you're in favor of the other guy, then you're thinking that he's not getting a fair shake. And if you're in favor of Brock Purdy, you're saying, how can he not be the starter after he's done so well? And if you're in Camp Lance, so to speak, you're looking at it and saying, the guy's never had a chance to go out there and try it. I want to see what we have with Trey Lance. So I don't know if it's necessarily toxic, but there definitely is a dividing line between who you want to be to have as the Niners starting quarterback. I do think that once we get to the regular season and it's pretty clear what the pecking order is, I think a lot of that quiets down until Brock Purdy, the starter, struggles.
So he throws one incompletion.
Well, I think it's going to be longer than that. But
I don't think it's going to be much. Like, remember, see, and I guess that's my fear. You're right. You're right that maybe it's too early to say that now. It's only camp. But if this is the way a lot of people are going to react to camp reps and, oh gosh, this guy overthrew someone in the end zone, that guy threw threw a ball at someone's knees, uh-oh. You know what I mean? If everybody shows up week one in Pittsburgh and instead of going, all right, there's a Niner game today, let's go watch the Niners, instead of doing that, you've got an agenda in the back of your mind with regard to the quarterbacks. Are you telling me that if the 49ers are down 14-7 at halftime in Pittsburgh and Purdy has struggled, you're telling me that fans are not going to have opinions about that? No one's going to be yelling,
of course they will.
I told you so. Well, if they do, and of course you're going to have opinions. I'm not saying not to do that. But do we want to create an environment where Brock Purdy is looking over his shoulder? These are both 23-year-old quarterbacks. Like Trey Lance in practice, I believe a scenario has been built that's not great for him. It isn't great for him. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to limit your reps. And if you have a couple of bad ones, we're going to tweet about it. And we're going to send out word that you threw a bad pass. Like, that's not good for Trey. Trey has been given such a raw deal here. No? And so that's kind of where I'm at. Like, let's not do that to him. And then let's not do that to Brock as well. They're both young quarterbacks.
Yes, but you are living in an idealized world that no longer exists with social media and with the fact that, like you're saying, as things are happening at practice and reporters are tweeting out details and stats at practice, we're all drawing our conclusions. So if you're a fan of Trey Lance and you think he's getting a raw deal and you're seeing the tweets come out that that Sam Darnold is struggling or Brock Purdy is struggling, you're saying, give Trey the chance, give him a shot to win the job. And if you're on the other side and you see Trey Lance throw the ball in the dirt and then the report comes out, you're thinking, see, this is why you got to go with Brock Purdy. I think that social media and the over-scrutinization of practice has led to all this, not only in 49er camp, but this is unique in that you do have 4 quarterbacks in camp who are all getting reps and questions about whether or not Brandon Allen should be getting that many reps. Because we have so much access now to the information and the reporters have so much more detail about practices and social media, it's an inevitability that this is going to happen.
Sure, I to a degree, I get it. I'm not calling for some sort of utopian deal here. I get that. Oh, let's go back in time to leave it to Beaver. Everybody be nice to the 49ers. That's not what I'm saying. I get it. You're everybody. You can go to practice. You can have your opinion. But I don't know that I've ever heard it get like this. And I've seen quarterback controversies, haven't we all? I mean, the one that always sort of pops to mind that I thought got the most intense through my lifetime, through our lifetime, was the Flutie Rob Johnson deal. That was where it literally felt 50-50. The opinion, and for a lot of you fans, you don't even remember that. Like, that's going back quite a ways.
Yeah.
We don't get those, like, really detailed. Montana Young, I guess, would be.
I was just going to say, think about that in the social media era.
Oh, my God.
We would all be melting down. And, in the Montana or Steve, I think sports talk was just in its nascent form. I don't even know if the stations were doing full sports talk yet, but I know the columnists all were weighing in, and that's about all you had.
Weighing in is great. I'm a sports talk radio host. I don't want people to not weigh in.
Yeah.
But we've definitely reached a spot where I almost want to I want to ask everyone a question. When you come from the Brandon Allen's getting too many reps, Trey's being held down, Brock is being rushed, and what is this Sam guy doing here anyway? Those points, and you hear those a lot.
Yeah.
Do you all think that Kyle is like one of these guys that just likes to mess with people? I don't need you to love Kyle Shanahan. You love him, you can hate him, anywhere in between. He's a very sought-after, respected coach in the NFL. You want to blame him for play calls in the Super Bowl? Great. Let's do it. Let's talk about the head coach of the 49ers. The reason I end up in the spot where I do on this conversation is because I think at his core, he's a good football coach. He's a good dude. And I think his players love him. I think they respect the hell out of him. So you want to question a play call? Great. Do you want to question, like, his motives? Because when you say, what the hell are you doing to Trey? Why is Brandon here? Why are you so into Sam? And why has Brock convinced you at such a level? Those questions to me mean you're questioning his motives. You're questioning his motives as if he would draft Trey Lance and immediately start a process of holding him down. Why would he do that? I don't understand why he would do that. They've got, in other words,
I don't know if it's his motives
they've got
as much
a reason.
as it is his judgment.
They've
People
got
are questioning his judgment. I don't think it's his motives. And maybe I'm not seeing the same thing that you do on social media. I don't think that people are looking at Kyle Shanahan and thinking he's intentionally holding Trey down and that he brought in Sam Darnold so that he could keep Trey Lance down. I don't see a lot of that. Maybe I'm not in the right corners, the dark corners of Twitter and whatnot.
Not just social.
I think it's more his judgment than it is his motives. That's what I'm seeing.
I guess my point is if you got a multi-billion-dollar organization that puts the resources it did into Trey Lance, they have every single solitary reason you could imagine for Trey to succeed.
Yeah.
So if they really, really super were in a good place where they thought he was succeeding at the level that they wanted him to succeed, don't you think that's where they'd be? And they're not. And they've got a reason. And this whole we've only seen 4 games. Not them.
Well, they've seen more than just 4 games.
Right.
They've seen every practice and every meeting, and they've seen everything that they need to see. And that's why I'm more fascinated by the Brandon Allen part of this, because he's getting so many snaps as a QB4, and Kyle corrected the reporter and said, no, he was QB3 today, yet he still is getting a lot of work because you think you have something in Brandon Allen, or you don't think you have something in one of your other quarterbacks. And we know Brock Purdy is going to be the starter, and after that, you've got Sam Darnold, who was rushed in to be the 2, and you've got Brandon Allen, who was brought in to be the 4, but maybe more, and you've got Trey Lance, who is in a spot where, he might be here or he might not be here.